It is the time to give it power. Fire in the hole. Yes, I'm so freaking excited. That is so awesome. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So I've been in the garage for a little bit and I've been busy. Finally got the transmission pulled back out after mock-up, and that is because we got some new parts in, and the new parts consist of our new to us converter flex plate, and we got some new hardware for the flex plate. So what that means is now we have one of the missing puzzles, and this is an FTI STX, I believe a 9.5-inch converter. So it's a pretty small unit, which means the stall speed on this is actually very high. And this is one of their, I guess, billet, I don't want to say billet back half, but the back half of this converter is made from billet, and then it's welded together. So pretty trick converter. This was on a setup that made well over 1,000 horsepower, so it is used. It's lightly used, I should say. And same thing with the flex plate. So flex plate, just a B&M SFI flex plate, and obviously we got some good ARP hardware. So I'll show you guys the trans. Got this pulled out. Also got a low car dipstick installed. Kind of a pain in the butt. This little grommet that goes around here is very tight on the FTI case, or whoever makes this case. Either it's an FTI or a Reed case, but the grommet that goes in here is very tight. So got it finally done, and as you can see, this kind of Medusa looking mess of hoses and lines is for our dump valve and our trans cooler and our charge pressure, converter charge pressure and line pressure. So that's what all this mess is right here. So yeah, so let's get started. We'll throw in the converter into the transmission, go ahead and get the flex plate installed, and then put the transmission back in together. There's one piece that we got to get, which is a mid plate shim. This converter was built for a car that had a mid plate, so we don't have one, but they make shims for it. So I think it's a 80,000 shim that goes in between the trans and the engine. Not a big deal. So we're going to put that in, and hopefully everything fits up. Alright, so it's been a few days since I got the transmission fully installed. We're just awaiting some torque converter bolts right now and some spacers for the correct torque converter spacing for our flywheel. But in the meantime, I have been busy still wiring the car and also getting the dash looking new again. So I'll go ahead and show you guys that. Here is our dash, you guys. I don't know if you remember, but this used to be red and ugly and someone had repainted it before. But I went ahead and scuffed it all up, made it look brand new again. And yeah, as you can see, we got it recoated black just to kind of match the whole interior scheme that we got with. And what we use is this color code from SEM, and it's the Landau black, Landu black, whatever you want to call it. And this stuff works pretty well. So this stuff is actually very scratch resistant. It doesn't really peel or flake that well, or as it should not. But as long as you do good prep on the dash or the pieces that you're painting, it kind of restores things pretty well. So I'm pretty impressed with it. Came out pretty good. We got the dash cut up, as you can see, to fit around our roll bar there. So we got our Holley 7-inch dash with our Custom Works Performance plate. So this is a steel plate. And as you can see, we have a left turn signal, a right turn signal, and a little blue light for high beams. And moving on over here, this is our headlight switch. So this will control the horn, turn signals, and headlights. And this is actually a switch from a Kubota tractor, and it was about 25 bucks on Amazon. And so far, I've rung everything out, and it seems to work pretty well. I got it hooked up here to a Deutsch connector, all fancy like. So we got our turn signals, we got our horn, and we have obviously what I'm going to make this as parking lights and this as headlights. So parking, headlights, and off. So we have our horn and, like I said, our turn signals. Also have two auxiliary switches. Now our leash street strip board has the provision for hazards. So that's this switch. Switch 1 will be for hazards, and switch 2 will be for auxiliary or whatever we decide to put on here. So let's see, there is actually an open pin on this connector on the body side, not here. So this is pinned out for this switch right here. So right now there's nothing really connected to it on the body side. I was thinking of putting cabin lights in there, but we'll see. But right now we got our custom little plate, our switch, our dash installed. We have all of our wiring for the dash here. And we went ahead and threw in a USB charger. So since we do plan to drag and drive this car, we found just this little kind of voltmeter slash USB charger with a little on-off switch. So little deal, came out pretty cool. And this would actually be where the radio is in the factory setup. So right here we're missing the ashtray. I don't remember if we ever had one or this car even came with one, but missing this for an ashtray, no big deal. But we have our USB charger, which is wired up. And also we have a secondary USB port, which is for our Holly. So in order to tune the car or change anything to the tune or whatnot, we will use this guy here. So this is a dual female. On the back side it's female as well. And this will be an easy in and out for our Holly ECU. So we got all the front half of the car wired up. So this is for our little lights right here. So I will have a switch that goes through this hole right here. So we'll have to kind of reach in between the fender, flip the switch, and these lights should come on. So everything is done up front minus our headlight harness, which I probably won't do until we get the front clip installed. But I'll go ahead and show you guys the finished wiring. So that wiring, that LED strip comes in a pack of 2. Very common with, I guess, a lot of people are using. And ran the wires down into our nice little Alex Tech stuff over there. All the way over here, it goes up. There's our high beam switch. That hole right there is where that switch is going to go for the forward lights. And everything runs up here. And the switch for the cabin lighting will run off of this guy right here. So it's actually this pink wire right there. But this is for our headlight switch, turn signals, and horn. We got our indicators for our left and right turn signals. Left, right, and high beam, sorry. So little indicator lights on the dash. Kind of hard to move in this thing a little bit. All right, steering wheel control. We got our bump box, our line lock, and our trans brake. This is our transmission harness, runs down obviously to the transmission. This is for our operator shifter, and this is a USB charger. So it's just a simple ignition power and a ground. Boost controls up here. These are all of our extra ignition and 12 volt sources from the relay board. We got our Holly dominator mounted up with the motion mount. Obviously I still have to do all the inputs and outputs for the Holly, but I planned on doing that last. So when we first put power to the car, I'm not going to have the Holly plugged in, just for whatever reason I don't want to burn this thing out. So from the Holly harness we have our main 12 volt power source from the battery that powers up this relay, which is for injectors and coil packs. We have our inputs as well from the rev sensor up there. And moving over to our board, right before actually, this is our ignition source for the Holly harness right here. So that tells the car when the ignition is on via the switch right here. So you flip that, sends power to the Holly harness, which sends power to the ECU, and powers everything up. So here's our leash electronic street strip board. And as you guys know, we got this as a package from Performance Fab and Wiring. And I must say, I didn't make any of these wires or terminate them or anything like that. But this harness, this wiring harness, if you're going to do a street car or a car with lights and horns and turn signals and everything like that, and a bunch of extra stuff that you can run off of it, I highly recommend this board. It made wiring super, super easy because I have never done this before, and I think everything came out pretty well. Obviously, we don't know if it works yet, but that's going to be the next thing we do is go ahead and put a battery in this thing. So I'm probably going to steal it out of the Ranger for a little bit. Yeah, and put a battery in it and pull the kill switch and see what happens. All right, moment of truth. We got the battery robbed out of the Ranger, currently sitting in the Camaro as we speak. So I've had the battery hooked up here for a couple minutes now. I got my fuses into my relay board for the ignition and battery sources that I'm using. All of them for the lighting, even though I'm not going to use any of them. And all of my J case fuses for the relays. Everything's hooked up. I double checked everything. There's no smoke, there's no smell, there's no burning of anything that I can see or smell. I checked the entire car. Like I said, I've had the battery on for a few minutes now, or connected I should say. And now it is the time to give it power. So I'm a little nervous, I'm a little excited. Hopefully you guys are too, because this is the make or break. We're gonna put power to this thing and see what happens. So go ahead, give it power. Oh, look at that. I see lights. Ooh, that's a good sign. Okay. Let's do another good double check of everything. Nothing's smoking or burning. That is a good sign though, is that we have our lights up here on our board. Let's see if these lights work. Ooh, they do. Cool. That's pretty sweet. I'm gonna turn this guy off. Everything seems to check out. Nothing is on fire that I can tell. Let's check the front, might as well. So I do have the plugs out of it. The wires are obviously off. I got the holes on the injectors open. So we're gonna try to bump the starter and see what happens. So far so good. Nothing is on fire. So that's a definite plus. So I'm happy with that so far. So let's go ahead and hit some switches, huh? All right, let's start with intercooler pump. Ready? Oh, I can hear it. Engine fan. All right, it's the engine fan. Oh, I hear the engine and trans fan now. Oh yeah, that's good. That is very good. All right, we got water pump. There's no water in it. I'm just gonna hit it real quick. Let you guys listen for it. That's on. Fuel pump, real quick. Ooh, that's on. Ignition's not gonna do anything. All right, moment of truth, hit starter. All right, that means stuff is working. That is extremely exciting. I'm actually gonna test one more thing, and that's this right here. So, as you guys know, we have a neutral safety switch. So in reverse, the starter should not work. Which it does not, which is perfect. Back to park. Works. Awesome. I love it when a plan comes together. Put it in neutral, should hit. And it does. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Look at that one-handed motion operator shifter operation right there. Yes. I'm so freaking excited. That is so awesome that everything is working. I cannot tell you guys how ecstatic I am for that. Oh, that's so awesome. So next thing to do is obviously plug in the harness. I'm not going to worry about inputs and outputs. We don't need that for anything else. Obviously give the Holly power, get the dash in here, and see what on the dash comes up. So everything should work normally. I did have to change some wires, as you guys know. We use the right sensor for our map sensor, and one other thing. What was it? Map sensor. I can't remember. We used it instead of the typical sensor that you had on the Holly harness. So we used the right sensor instead. More accurate data, especially for the map sensor and whatnot. So yeah, let me get the dash installed, get it plugged in, and see what happens. Okay, so we got our dash installed. Currently have power on. As you can see, the lights up there. Battery's hooked up. ECU is hooked up. Let's see, the shifter's back installed. So we'll go ahead and flip the ignition and see what happens. Oh, that's a good sign. We got our screen coming on. What about this guy? USB charger. Oh, it works. Tells us our voltage too. Nice little Amazon find. Ah, look at that right there. Hell yeah. All right, let's see if we get some RPM out of it or something. Why did that not work? Oh, because the shifter's not plugged in. That's why. Look at that, neutral safety switch, winning already. Get that guy plugged in. Now we should have starter. but it's gonna, oh, it resets every time, that's right. Okay, I'm gonna have to get the laptop, we'll plug into the ECU. That way we don't have to wait for the screen to restart while the, whatchamacallit's in. So we'll use our fancy little bulkhead right there. I'll be right back. Okay, got the laptop hooked up, got the firmware updated on the ECU. So I was running V5, now we're on V6. For some reason, I have some things working. See, air temp's working. We have our map sensors pegged. That doesn't make any sense. Obviously, there's no boost. Air fuel's not plugged in. Don't need it plugged in right now. But we have no RPM, and I'm not sure why. But really, all I'm looking for right now is oil pressure. So we'll go ahead and crank her over and see what she makes. Wow, 42, 43 PSI. Just off of the starter is actually significant. That is very impressive, actually. So I did verify oil is coming out. I had the turbo feed off, so as you can see, there's some oil that was in there. Already dumped it back in there. Probably close this guy up now. But yeah, oil feed's back on, so it should be draining back into the pan. Do a quick check, see if there's any leaks, and we'll go from there. If I can get this freaking cap on, holy crap. So now, as you guys watch me struggle with this, the only thing we need are injectors. So if we get injectors and put the plugs back in it, put some fuel in it, we can fire this thing up. So that might be, I mean, it's probably going to be the next thing on the agenda, but everything seems to be working well now. Obviously, I got to get with the professional tuner, Dr. Tunmal. He'll probably send me a file. I got to configure some more stuff in the ECU, obviously do the inputs and outputs, but that will not stop it from firing up. So yeah, huge progress today. Super excited that everything's working. Extremely excited we're making oil pressure. The dash is working, the neutral safety is working, all the fuel pumps, intercooler pump, trans fan, engine fan, all that stuff seems to be working. I'm gonna go ahead and tinker around with the software a little bit, see if I can get some of these RPM to match and stuff like that. So I'm gonna play around with it, not too much. I don't want to go too far and get ahead of myself, but I just want to kind of tinker with it and see how far I can get. All right, currently sitting in the car. Just want to go through a few things with you guys. Obviously, you've seen our little charger works. We got our cabin lights, which is this guy right here, super bright, really nice. Go ahead and pay attention down to these lights over here. So this is going to be left turn signal. And as you can see, they are flashing. Right turn signal. And we have indicator up here, so left. We'll go ahead and hit the hazard button. Got both. All four lights down, which is awesome. Horn work, really super loud for that. Let's see, so parking lights, headlights, now high beams, boom, and our indicator. Right? Super sick. So that's really cool. Let's see, we have our, neutral safety switch, right? Starter will not function, even though, well, I guess I won't let it put it in park. Oh. She cranks. Right, so we have all of the other ones that we'll show you. See the lights coming on? Really cool. So all of our lights work for that. I think, I don't want to jinx myself, but I think everything works. I don't think there's a single thing that does not work. Now, obviously, I have not checked the lights in the rear or the front because they are not done. Oh, I think I might have jinxed myself. The steering wheel, I've not tested the trans brake. The transmission harness is not installed or not plugged in. Only because I don't have another person here. I'd rather really wait until I can have someone under the car, myself under the car, test out the trans brake, bump box, stuff like that. So some of that we can't really test out until the car's actually running and testing. But we'll go from there. But I think that's super cool that this is all working. I mean, even just the stupid little indicator lights, you know, like how cool is that? So I really excited that we took all the time that we did just to make sure everything is functioning properly. And you can even turn this off too. But, you know, obviously, it's just been a long time coming, and you guys can see that. I know I've dragged out the videos a little bit, but it's only because, you know, it's just me doing this stuff now. And obviously I want to make it right the first time. So I've done everything in my power to do so, watching YouTube, looking at other people's builds, getting information for some other people. So I really want to give a huge shout out to Steven at Performance Fab and Wiring. One, for the whole bundle. We got the race wire solutions, switch panel, the Leash Electronics board, and obviously the wiring kit that they provide in bundle. Super easy install. Everything was, I mean, it made everything so much easier. Yeah, so there's some things that I didn't use yet, but that's fine. There's always room to grow and add things in the future. So yeah, super good start today. I'm really proud of myself and my brother for how far we've come with this build. And I really hope this helps and motivates you guys to get your own build and start tinkering with it and you know, plugging away at all the wiring and whatnot. So let me know if this really helped you guys. That was really the main focus of this entire build, is to showcase what we're doing, because we've never done it before, and to kind of help you guys kind of take that leap into a build, because, you know, you don't know until you start. So, you know, it's just like welding. You don't know if you're good at it until you try it. So I think we're doing pretty well. So like I said, the next thing we need to do is some injectors and some fuel and good old keyboard wizardry from Dr. Tunmal, and we'll put some fire in the pipes in this guy.